Hello everybody out there on the internet, this is Andrew Salas back to you with another great small business tech tip from smallbusinesstechtips.com. And today we're going to put a Windows XP a virtual machine on this Windows 7 64-bit machine. And there's a couple different reasons why you would need that, if software compatibility or if you're just cross-platform testing or anything like that. And it doesn't dual boot, so you could be in your Windows 7 machine and then just bring up your Windows XP machine, and it's a lot better way to have it in there. And then you could even launch applications individually in the XP environment. So first thing we need to do is check for compatibility. So what we're going to do is go to this website here, and I will include that link. So we will go to download, and then the external mirror download. Now, depending on what browser, it's going to launch in any different ways. I have IE9, so it's going to be down here. So we're just going to open that up. Looks like it puts a zip file here, so go and transfer that to my desktop. So go ahead and launch that, and it tells us a couple things here. Basically down the line, CPU is 64-bit, which is good. Windows is 64-bit, which is good. And virtualization is turned on. So virtualization is the little tricky one. If you have a Windows operating system that's 64-bit, your processor is going to be 64-bit, obviously. So you'll need to rectify these down the chain. Virtualization is handled, it's a setting in your BIOS. So when your computer first starts up and it says, hit F12 to enter setup, that's where you would change this if it wasn't. Each computer is different, and look at your manufacturer for that. It's just enabling virtualization in your BIOS. But we're all good here, so what I would do next is I would just open up Google or anything like that, and we're going to just type Windows 7 XP mode, and that'll bring us to this Microsoft landing page where it takes us through the process. Now it'll check your operating system, and you could check that in your system properties if you right click on your properties here. I happen to know that mine is Ultimate and it is 64, so we could go to Ultimate 64, and I want mine in English. This will verify that your copy is valid of Windows, and if you're not pirating your operating system or IT is up to date with their licenses, there shouldn't be anything to worry about. And yay, it looks like I had all my ducks in a row because my Windows validation was successful. And now I can proceed to the download, and it'll launch it just like it did with the other browser. So we'll go and save all of these things. Mine in particular, I've previously upgraded to Windows 7 Service Pack 1, so I will not need this one. But I'll go ahead and save it just so I can see my view downloads. You can see that I have already downloaded all three of these things. And we would just run those in succession. So if you've already ran them like I have, you'll see that it'll come up and say this update is not applicable to your computer because it's already on there. So after doing that, running these things, the big one, the smaller one takes longer because it puts your computer into an update ready state. Now what that means is the software is not going to be available to you until you do a reboot. Once you reboot, it'll say applying those settings on the shutdown and on restart, and then you should be back here to square one where you could just type XP mode in here, and that's where we are on this computer. So you type XP mode, go to this icon here, and we just go through the prompts just like we did. So we want to create a password for this one. It really doesn't matter, but you want to document it. I stick with kind of a standard passwords that I normally would. So we want to confirm that, and then we want to remember the credentials because I don't want to log in every single time. And this might look familiar to you if you've ever set up an XP computer. That takes you through the same prompts. So we'll go ahead and start the setup. Then it automatically launches the virtual PC after that first process is done here. It'll pop up just your virtual machine as is, and that's pretty much it. You'll have your Windows virtual machine here just like any other PC. And keep an eye out for any post-install tutorials that I will be putting up here as far as like applications go, keeping your virtualization up to date, and other little quick tips for it. But now you have Windows XP on there, and the way that you would launch it now is if you type XP mode in here, you'll just launch that right there. Have a great day, and hope you found this tip helpful.